down, isn't it? So
yeah, true. That's why you're my ideal running partner.
you don't blame me. Yes, you're always looking for excuses. Oh yes, when he said he would do the shopping for me, I thought, how can I get out of this one? But first he asked me, what am I going to buy? So I told him, but he was like, well, that doesn't sound like we really need to go today.
Yeah. So, and then you say you have to go to Lagos as well.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll do all that for you. Anyway, all right. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On YouTube and on Instagram, you're welcome to another session of the Blue Sofa. 30th session, actually.
Yeah, imagine 30 sessions. Yeah. 30 sessions.
Yeah. So thank you all for the encouragement.
Yeah.
For keeping us going. I don't know that we can actually start this session with actually talking about what's going on in America, can we? Mm-hmm. I know we didn't plan to.
Yeah, I know.
But I've been.
Someone said they want an update on your vacuum.
Oh, well, not too bad. I did it last week. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay. That question came at the wrong time. Yeah, so I still did it last week. Yeah. So in America, I've been reflecting and thinking about it actually, and personally, this is something that I was going to have a chat with you about at some point. I think that this decade, I've seen this decade anyway, the decade of the Black woman, and I think a lot of opportunities would arise for Black women.
Do you think only Black women? What about Black men?
I think more Black women. Of course, what I mean is that, of course, there would always be opportunities for different kinds of people, even white women too. But it's more that I think it's an opportunity for the Black woman to rise up, because now there's a role model. Well, there's a figure, a face to see in that sort of level. But also, I'm not sure whether she will be a role model, but at least as far as leadership and career is concerned, as a role model. But more importantly, I think it's the fact that it should become a whole lot more easily acceptable for a woman to aspire to those levels of office, whether at work, business, and all that. So I really believe that it's a year of decade of the Black woman for sure. I already have a roadmap for my wife in my mind in terms of this decade, how we're going to achieve some goals. I'll discuss that with you later today. Yeah,
actually, planning my life.
Yeah. Well, that's my job. It's my job to plan our lives.
So, but the US election has been serious, man.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it as, I don't know if the word is diligently, but as much as I have in the past, should I say. It's been long. It took a long time. I mean, like, for what, 3 days?
Yeah.
The counts didn't change.
We're just in limbo. My brother in the US didn't sleep for like 2 days.
Really?
Yeah. Because the counting continues, and you just want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So in your mind, you see 99%, and you're thinking, well, in the next hour or so, they're going to declare. But then that 99% will take another day.
I know, right?
So Pastor Bimbo actually echoed my thinking in a post that she put on Instagram. With 2 little kids and a goat.
Watching it. Was it a laptop?
Yeah, some sort of screen anyway. So we're all in waiting mode.
Yeah.
And
but now we're still waiting. I'm still waiting to see what's gonna happen.
Well, we believe that it would be well. I mean, America's democracy is a very strong one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Manny said you're gonna put me to work.
Yeah, you know what? I was actually thinking of. Has anyone seen the Kamala? Is it Kamala?
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris's video of her jogging and say, "Oh, Joe, we did it." I was going to do my own version, of just be on the phone. Oh, phones, we did it, And in my mind, I'm thinking about that next level for career and all that ministry. So, Manu, you're right. I'm putting her to work, but of course with a lot of support from me. So watch this space. This is our own decade. you know.
Yeah. So today's session, today's session, cuffing season. So I think today's going to be a really interesting session. Because we've got a couple on and they've been married for less than 5 years. So, so we've been married for 11 and a half years now. So obviously, we've gone past the early years of marriage. So we've got a couple, Shade and Femi Gun, who are going to come on and just share their lives and share with us, the early years of marriage. So we welcome you on.
Yeah, this is where you have the drum roll, right? Okay, so let's find Shade. Whose connection are we on? Are we on?
I saw the Shade Igun.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look for Shade Igun and yeah, I can see Shade Igun. Okay. All right. So just before you guys get talking, I want to introduce the couple myself. Hello.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Yeah, good to see you guys. So I have the privilege of introducing both Shade and Femi because I've played a key role in their lives for for a few years now. I have the privilege of joining them at the altar. And and usually what I do when I'm called to do the joining is I tend to have a pre-wedding session. And I remember the conversation that we had at the Harvesters up the road from us here, and and I'm thankful that at least so far it looks to me that it's been good, So we'll hear a bit more from you guys, and also the great joy of naming Angie as well, So, I mean, who knows? God preserving our lives. Maybe I might be there to join her too in the future when she's getting married. That would be a great privilege. Anyway, so good to have you guys. I know Femi is usually very reserved, just like me. But I want Femi to do a lot more of the talking today.
Yes.
So, do you guys want to tell us how you met?
Hello. Hi, Angie.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, hi everyone.
Hi.
How do I start? I went with a friend to another friend's birthday. Then we went for a meal.
A mutual friend.
Yeah. So we went for a meal. Then
I don't think you need to do the whole story, basically.
Okay, you know what? Shade, please tell us how you met. And Femi will now be chipping in.
So we basically met through a mutual friend. It was her birthday party and Femi was there. He was leaving actually. And I came late with another friend of mine. And we didn't actually see each other then. He kind of saw me, but I didn't see him because he was leaving whilst I was coming in.
Yeah.
So it was that, and obviously love at first sight.
Baby, please say so. When you saw her, what came to mind? Be real talk, eh?
Okay, the truth is when I saw her, I was just walking out the building and she was coming in. So I thought, who's this girl? I've never seen her before. I expected to see only mutual face. Familiar face, and I didn't recognize her. So I went back to.
You went back to the party
to do my due diligence. Because to find out who she was. This is the face we're in, and we get to talk more about this.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Yes. So when I saw her, I thought, who's this person? Then I tried to find out more about her. Obviously, then I realized she came to my church as well.
Yeah.
Then I started to watch her. As you'd expect, so I started to watch her. Then I made my inquiries, and we got to know each other, and that's how it started.
Inquiries.
Then she didn't.
She did what? So let's say that again.
I said I made the first move.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So when you started watching, so you set your cameras on, your surveillance and all that. So
And you were making inquiries.
yeah. So were you asking people around her, who's this girl, and what sort of
That's part of it. I was asking people around her.
Okay.
Angie, I was asking people about her. I got to find out more about her, what she did, her network. And funny enough, she went to school with one of my childhood friends as well.
Okay.
So good to just at least know.
Yeah, background check.
So basically, you were being watched. Did you know you were being watched?
No, I don't think she did.
Yeah.
Not quite.
No, I didn't even know.
How?
I didn't know actually.
I mean, she would not know.
Okay. So, well, in terms of, so what was it? What caught your attention?
Obviously, it was looks, isn't it?
No, we know she just got. I mean, the pretty face, obvious, but what caught your attention?
The first thing was she looks. I thought, wow, who's this beautiful girl that just walked in? And I didn't. I think the worst part of it was time to leave because we were headed to another party. To another party.
Okay.
I was going with my friend, so it wouldn't let me turn back. that made it. It made it
Awkward.
no. It just made it. It made my task a little harder. So I had to do the work and try to find out. Obviously, if I had the time, I would have sat down and probably had a conversation. But so it became more of a who's this? Then I had to go through lots of pictures, pick out the right person. Then we started talking, asking questions, and getting to know each other, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, Angie wants to be part of this conversation.
I know. It's locked. Nowhere to put her at this time.
Okay, so Shade, in terms of, so when did you start getting the vibe, that there's something about this guy, he's interested, he's coming too close and all that?
Yeah. I think it took a couple of months because at first I wasn't really interested because obviously I had not met him. And I think it took a while. I think Tola was asking me questions and I was kind of, I just said the name. Our friend was asking questions and I was just not really interested. And then, so it took a couple of months, I think. And then we actually, then we bumped into each other at church. And then I think that's what was like, oh, he's actually a nice guy. We were at TC then. We were at TC then. And we bumped into each other after service and he was actually really nice. So then that's when we went on dates and then we started taking it seriously.
So Shade, you said that you bumped into each other. Femi, that was intentional bumping, I take it, yeah?
But coincidence.
Okay, brilliant. So Shade, what changed your mind?
What did you?
What was it that changed your mind that made you think, yes, I will give him a chance?
I think I was in the stage of my life where I was trying to think differently in terms of relationships. I was trying to do something different. I was taking my walk with God seriously as well. And the next relationship that I wanted to commit myself to, I wanted it to lead to marriage. So I had to kind of speak to myself and say, okay, is this something that, you want to be serious on? So pursue it, or is this something that you don't want to kind of delve into? So yeah, I think then, and speaking with him, listening to his values, we both stay in the same church, so we're listening to the same messages. Then I thought, okay, this could be the guy. And if I want to be in a relationship with this guy, it's gonna be intentional and we're gonna lead to marriage. So yeah, it was kind of like a mindset.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so you said that you were intentional, that you were thinking that this is going to lead to marriage. So what were the things that you did? So once you started dating and courting, what was it that kind of helped you to prepare for marriage?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't do everything right, but I think we kind of think Femi encouraged us to tell Pastor B. So we went to meet Pastor B in her office. I think that was one of the major things. I'd never taken like someone to meet my pastor before. That was really big. So I think once we made that, like, okay, let's take this seriously, we booked an appointment to see Pastor B at her office. And just saying that, okay, we're looking to build a relationship together. Thank you.
We will put that in front of Pepe Pig.
And your iPad.
Yeah.
Yes. So we went to see Pastor B. I think we read some books. I think Sammy was in a different mind space than me. He was like serious. He knew what he wanted. He was in a space where, he was reading up on marriage. His friends were getting married as well. So he knew that was his next step. So he was preparing himself, mentally, reading books as well, speaking to his married friends as well. So yeah, I think he prepared that way as well. But I think a major thing was kind of like telling our parents as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. So today's session really, what we want to kind of establish are the, so we've themed it conversations with my single self.
Yeah.
So in my life now, I mean, I can think of some things that I would do differently. And those are the kind of things that we want to sort of talk about. So you mentioned that I think you said something along the lines that you didn't do everything right.
Yeah.
And it's all of that, things like that I want to just sort of focus on today. So you had a few conversations with Fumi. I'm not sure where. In terms of, for example, finances and stuff like that, and we touch on other things anyway. But let's start from finances.
Oh yes, finances,
or rather paying bills or something like that, right?
Yeah, no. So just like we were speaking about kind of preparation for marriage and things that you kind of found out about yourself now that you're married. So perhaps you want to share a bit there.
Yeah, so when me and just were talking, I think a couple of days ago, I think finances were one of the shock. I think the question was what kind of shocked you? I think when it came to finances, it was kind of one of the big shocks because I always was living at home. I was always been in my parents' sort of space in this bubble. I didn't know what council tax was. I didn't know what bills was. Wow. My money, from my point of view, from when I was a young adult. So I think getting into that, our money is our money, my money is our money kind of mindset was quite challenging. And Femi's a saver and I'm a spender, so even our spending habits were very different. I would see something like, yeah, I'm buying it, whereas Femi would think 3 times, 4 times before making a purchase, and he will have to justify it. When I'm more impulsive, so when it comes to things like that, paying bills, Femi was very structured. He had bought a house, so he had been paying a mortgage, so he has been responsible. Whereas where I was coming from, I was obviously been mothered. And not necessarily responsible because I never was been at, I had not been at that life stage yet. So it was quite hard to adjust. And we did have a few kind of heated arguments with regards to finances. And a few hurdles we had to get, because even like our relationship mentor, who we absolutely love, our Auntie Janet, she goes to TLC. She was a premarital counselor as well. She had to sit down with me and say, your mindset with finances is, she had to literally sit me down in the our meeting and say, look, you have to be more open, about finances. And it was something that I had to be intentional about and relearn, actually, not necessarily relearn, learn how to be open about finances and share and have that us mentality when it comes to finances.
Okay, so, go on.
I didn't have it together either, because imagine you're going to you're getting married and you're thinking, yeah, I don't need to worry myself about this. I don't need to know when I get married. That's what women do. Women finances. Yeah. I don't need to be worried about this.
Yeah.
She's paying bills. It's good. Paying on time even better. Yeah. I don't need to worry. It will be my headache. That will be Shade's responsibility.
Yeah.
That I should have taught myself as well.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't really have it together either. But it was. But over time, we've learned to work to each other's strengths.
Yeah.
You know, Shade's more she's more organized because she, as you know, she's a PM. But with that comes some sort of structure. But while I like, I'm not necessarily structured, but I like to think things in advance. I like to, not because it's I don't know, it's a different kind of thinking. It's not about structure for me. It's more about, I don't know, maybe about planning or seeing things, trying to see what possible outcome.
It's certain vision in place,
that's how I see things.
Yeah.
And she's more so. Initially, at the start of our relationship, I was constantly prodding and trying to make her like me, and that raised a different. That was just different because we're quite different. So trying to make her like me, or trying it was
the
difficult.
Perception you had, basically trying to mold me into that perception you had.
So we both started working to our strengths.
Yeah.
So Mark, for example, I can think things in advance and I bring it to the table.
Yeah.
And then she runs with that. Yeah. It makes her life really smooth.
Yeah.
So
can I ask, what was it that changed it? You know, was it?
I think over time we just got to find out how things work better. My approach, for example, I would monitor people, or first instance, when I speak to people, I like to find out how their results and issues are. Then I take all this. I bring it to the table. There's this, there's that, there's this. Then we talk about it, and
I think through various arguments as well, because Femi was kind of like stuck in the mindset where no, you should know finances. This is it. Pastor B, it manages her finances in the marriage. You need to manage it. I'm like, but Pastor B, yes, you use Pastor B. Except Pastor B, and I was like, well, Pastor B's strength is that. My strength is not that. If you give me the finances, I'm going to spend it. So just kind of working through that after argument, and even just listening to sermons, listening to other people how they manage their relationships as well. Just even listening in, then we got to see that it's not only the women that handles finances; it's whoever is strongest in that area. I think that's what Femi realized. That it's whoever is stronger in saving, the vision for the family in terms of finances and where we need to go and how we need to invest, etc., should handle it. And I think he kind of.
So going back to conversation with your single self. So we spoke about you hadn't really been managing kind of finances before you got married. So if you were to have a conversation with your single self about finances, what would you say, or what would you say to single people, I guess?
I don't think that's an excuse. I think that was just something that I just, I feel like when you're in a relationship, it should be something that you prioritize to find out more about. I mean, when I was, to my single self, find balance, still live your best life and, do what you need to do, but also balance it. Because if you know that you're in a serious relationship and you want to get married, prepare for that. What does that actually mean? Seek out people's opinions, read books, ask questions, and kind of prepare. Mine was kind of like, I'm going to get married, so let me live my best life before it's too late. And finding that balance is really important. And I think for me, it's just more inquiring, talking to married people. I was like, not necessarily scared, but I thought I'd be doing too much if I would approach a married person and ask them questions. I just feel like that was doing too much, but really it's actually being wise, asking someone that's already been there. I had a lot of misconceptions about preparing for marriage because I just thought, I was just doing too much. I just thought that I would be doing too much, and the time was going to come anyway, so I might as well just enjoy my season now, whereas there needed to be a preparation stage before transitioning. I think that's what I had, like, kind of teething problems when I got into marriage, because I didn't have that long transitional period. It was kind of like single mindset, then married, and adjusting when I should have had that transitional period. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Femi, I remember we had a conversation some time ago. You remember your E-Class that car that really nice car. Yeah. Tell me, because that was the car you had when you were single, right? And really, really nice. I'm sure that was one of the things that caught Shadi's attention at the time. I don't know, I'm guessing anyway. This nice car. But then you had a change of mind. I mean, what happened there?
So share the conversation. What was it? Was it a small car?
Yeah.
No, yes. Nice big car.
I had to be real. It wasn't practical, basically.
Why wasn't it practical?
Okay. Initially, I mean, coupes are nice when you're sitting there and you're stretching your leg.
Could you describe the car first so that people know what the car we're talking about?
Sorry?
The car. Describe the car.
It was a 2-door. It was basically a coupe. But coupes are nice when it's just you and when you start driving. When you have them for a while, then coming up to the low car, it becomes an inconvenience. Then, by the time I didn't mind, it was okay. Then you got a girlfriend and she has to do it all the time. It's nice initially. Then it start getting harder. Then you get married. Then you have a baby and you can't be fit in the child seat. It'd be hard.
Okay. So
it's really from being a comfortable car, it became a pain. Yeah. And we had to now we drive a MPV. That's okay.
Oh man. Yeah, so definitely. So what changed there obviously is you're now in a different life stage, and we'll come to that with Angie. But at the time, it was nice to have, was the boy's toy. It was really good,
yeah.
But then, as a family car, it just wasn't cutting it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So to your single self, I mean, trying to think about it. To your single self, what would you have said to you? What would you say to your single self now?
To my single self, I would say, sorry, that's what I've had to learn. Patience. Right, okay. My single self, I definitely yeah. Sometimes she needs that. And to my single self, two things. Well, more than two things. I've been thinking about it for the last 2 hours, trying to see what I'll tell my single self. I think the first thing is it's okay to say no sometimes if having to explain myself. I think what I've done over the years was constantly, if someone brings something to me, or if there was a motive or basically I just accept without, even if it's inconvenient for me, I just try to do it for the other person, and I think that's brought me over time. It's brought me into uncomfortable situations or just share with the time that I could have saved myself if I said no outrightly. So that's something that I'm constantly working on. I mean, I got better at it. Secondly, to my single self, I probably tell myself not to worry too much, especially if you can't, if it's something beyond your control.
Okay.
With my kind of the way I see things, I try to get in there early and just try to get past it, and that's worked for me over the years. But then when you say yourself, like, by a certain age, I want to have this, I want to have that, it just puts unnecessary pressure.
Yeah.
And then I think it robs you of the gift of the present.
Yeah.
You know, you don't enjoy the present situation you're in, or I'll find
you're always looking for the next hurdle, and that doesn't, you don't enjoy now. I think that's it. Yeah.
Like they say about comparison is thief of joy. It basically it denies you that present. You know, you don't enjoy the present because you're constantly comparing or constantly thinking you should have done this, you should have done that.
Yeah.
Those are two key things that stand out for me.
Okay. So Shade, I mean, I remember. I mean, of course. I mean, I knew you well as a single person. You know, very, very. I mean, but you're a natural leader, right? You know, strong. You know yourself. You know where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
You're strong in your opinions, which are all good things. But I observe that in this marriage, right, as much as you're still strong, there are sometimes I expect a reaction from you, but you're just very calm. What has changed?
Well, yeah, I do agree with you. I'm very strong-willed, strong character, and it's basically just wisdom from my mum, wisdom from Auntie Janet in terms of managing the relationship.
Yeah.
Because if you keep on acting strong, or trying to be an alpha female in a marriage, it doesn't work, because the structure of how God wanted it is the man first, and we're always going to be bumping heads. So I had to understand submission, really well on it, and understand that, and be okay with that. I can still be strong under it. And so after various arguments, naturally, I'm just an outspoken person. I'll say my mind.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, but in marriage, you have to use wisdom, tact, to approach certain situations. If I go through head on, I'm not going to get the reaction I want. Yeah. Whereas if I say something later on when things are not heated, or when in a softer voice or in a different way, when I'm not heated or I'm not forthcoming, I get a better reaction. And that's just how things are. Like, as a single person, it worked, but in marriage, not necessarily. And don't get me wrong, there are times that I'm still going to be that way if I feel strongly about something, but not in every case.
Yeah.
My mum always tells me, you have to submit. Submission is so important. Submission is so important. So she kind of drilled that in my head. Even listening to Pastor B when he talks about her various marriage messages, just dwelling on that. And I see that, I get the reaction I need when I kind of take a step back and take things calmer. And things escalate even more when I try and be that kind of bullish, taking things head on. Things escalate more, especially in arguments. Things go way further than it needs to.
Yeah.
But I step back and, I kind of not want the last word, because I feel like actually I always want to have the last word. I'm always right in every argument, but I'm not always right in every argument. And sometimes it's okay to just fight. Even if you're right, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay to just stop talking and just say, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna keep quiet right now. So
that's her, by the way. Facts. Till you pull up and they're not facts.
I had to learn that in relationships, like in general, and in marriage. It's really important, because I have this strong personality. I can sometimes rub people the wrong way or say things at the wrong times. And it's kind of a sign of maturity. When I look back and be like, wow, you've actually handled the situation. If it was another time, I would have either, got someone really upset, or things would have escalated. But, sometimes you just take a step back and kind of be quiet.
So thank you for sharing. So it's interesting. So you're the premarital counselling, there are a lot of tips there that you've taken on board to kind of help you to continue growing in your relationship, I guess. And also your mum, thank God for for godly parents or examples that can give you the right advice to help you to progress in marriage?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend the premarital. I think that was such an amazing experience. We loved every single session. It was intense, and it kind of challenged us in a way that we never thought about things as well.
Even the application form.
His application form. Yeah, it took us like days to do it.
So when you're doing premarital guidance, you have to fill in a form, and the form are so many questions before you even start.
We're kind of trying to see each other's progress. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still on page 1. Like, yeah, me too. It's such a long, but it's definitely needed, and I would advise like every serious couple looking to get married to do it, because it just really, even if you know that you're meant to be together, it challenges your thoughts, your preconceptions, and it kind of gives you a realistic view of marriage. Because me as an example, before I did a premarital counseling, in my mind what I thought marriage was is completely different. We went through kind of roles and all of that stuff, and we had to like have a serious conversation about what we're going to do in the home. And although it was, theoretical, we had to commit to it and do it in marriage. So yeah, definitely very, 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 very useful. I loved it. And, we came out with a great relationship with Auntie Mentor, who speaks to us and helps us in our marriage as well.
Oh, lovely. That's lovely. So the relationship still kind of continues on.
Yeah, I think one thing about the premarital, if anything, it gives you a bird eye view relationship. Someone from the outside looking in, basically, they look at your relationship.
Yeah,
they ask probing questions.
Yeah,
and it makes you see. It makes you, for example, we would have thought we covered everything, but then it gave you. It just gives you, when they ask you more questions.
He's upside down now.
You swapped it round.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. Yes, I think what it does, they just make you see different angles, maybe thoughts you haven't considered before.
Yeah.
So that's therefore.
Okay. So Femi, another question for you. We'll come to how Angie has changed your life. But that'll be one of the last questions. Now, so if you imagine, and this I want to answer this, and Shade would also answer a similar question. If you imagine marriage as a journey, right, and that's what it is, you're on the journey somewhere together with someone. What do you think you packed your bag right? Or if not, what would you put in that bag? Or that you thought you got it right at the time by just packing yourself. Like you're going on holiday, right? And you pack wrongly for the holiday, right? So what would you say that you packed in your bag that you rather not have packed now?
Yeah. Okay. In terms of my bag stuff that I think I rather not pack, it's probably that initially at the start of our journey, it's that know-it-all factor, that you think, I covered everything, but it's really possible to get caught between knowing not the other person's inputs to it's a fine line basically, but I don't want to take too much nonsense. I don't want to take too much rubbish in my head that confuses my decisions. But at the same time, it's key to get feedback. It's key to find out, especially when you're going with a companion, and if you are with the right person. In my case, Shade, for example, you want to make sure that you're taking their feedback on board.
Yeah.
Or else you're just going to drive each other around the bend. It's just going to drive each other mad, and it's pointless. So in terms of my extra baggage that I thought I shouldn't have taken, is probably that approach at the start that I thought Yeah,
knew it
I
all,
know
you had-
everything.
yeah, you had-
I know this. I got the answer to this. I got the
Yeah.
key to this. I
Yeah.
covered this already.
Yeah,
So that
I know this.
That
I've
was-
got experience in it. You don't, blah blah blah. Yeah.
Okay.
So same question, Shade. Did you get the
So,
question though?
The question was, what would I not want to take with me?
So if you imagine, marriage as a journey, women pack, extra bags all the time. What do you think you packed in your bag that, in hindsight, now looking back, number one, you didn't need this, and then what did you miss out that you should have packed in the bag? Well, it's not too late to address that, but yeah.
What did I wish I took in the bag? What I didn't want to take? I think.
I'll probably go first. I do that part.
No, but you already done it.
The second part.
That. What should I take now?
Oh, okay. I think
Yeah,
that's
okay.
What you think of your
Yeah.
one? In terms of me, what I think I should have taken. When they say man's best virtue is patience, it's true.
Is what? Sorry?
Normally, when they say man's best virtue is patience,
Yeah.
Initially, I mean, you think, it's quiet, it's laid back, it's reserved.
Yeah.
But before I take feedback from you, or before I take something off somebody else, I would have seen them over time, or genuinely believe within myself that it's a reputable source or somebody that is doing what I want to do, for example.
Yeah.
So I feel in terms of what should have taken, I should have been more patient.
Yeah.
As a man, over time, well, not long. I mean, we haven't been married long, but what I've learned to be more patient. It's not, and at the same time, you don't want to yield ground too much, and because it leads to other stuff, and that's not where you want to be. But constantly being not slow to act, but constantly reflecting. Not every you don't need to address. You don't need to speak about everything.
Yeah.
That's helped me over time, and getting better at it. Sometimes I say stuff, and something happens, and I go to study. Oh, thank God for patience.
Yeah.
Or you want to say stuff, and you keep quiet. Then, when we come back to when we revisit the topic, then it gets laid bare in front of us where we probably made mistakes, and I'm supposed to say stuff that's hurtful, or could have been constantly feeling the need to be right. It makes you think at the end of the day that when you do it, when you're right, are you really right when the other person feels rubbish?
Yeah.
You can win the battle, but not the war.
Yeah.
Saying, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a big thing that we've learned. Okay, you're right. But why did you have to make that point, and did you have to make it in that way? It's about teaching each other lovingly. I think that's one thing that we learned as well. You can be right, but what did you do? What did you say to get to that place? Did you say it in a loving way? And sometimes it's how you say things as well. That's one thing I learned in marriage as well, and I had to teach Femi how your tone just messes the whole thing up. Yeah, you've said something that right, but you've said it in a tone where I don't appreciate, and that's the problem, not necessarily what you said. So yeah, that's it. That's one of the things that we've learned.
Finding different ways to say stuff.
Yeah,
it's a skill.
Yeah,
communication.
Yeah. Okay. So, Shadi, are you ready to share now?
So I think that's a very, very interesting question, very challenging question. I think maybe heartbreaks from previous relationships. I think I think that's one for me. Like heartbreaks, experiences that I had before in previous relationships, kind of that in, and not even intentionally, but obviously, if you've been in a previous relationship before, you've been made to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
If you've had argument, the person may not have done that extent to you, but you feel a certain way, and that makes you bring back memories and feelings, and I feel like that. Bringing some of that baggage on and having kind of like a guard up, not to be hurt or not to be vulnerable. I think for me, being vulnerable in marriage is a beautiful thing, but it's so hard. And that's, what I'm learning day by day in marriage, is that, you have to be vulnerable because you're spending your life with this person. This person has to see your best, your worst, everything. Yeah. There's no guard up in marriage. I think that's something I'm learning on a day-to-day basis, and that we're just open to each other. We're naked, like we're husband and wife. We need to know everything about each other, and there's no guards up. So I think that's a key one for me. Yeah. Other question you said, Pastor. Thanks, I didn't get the last one.
So you've answered the things that you should not have taken, right?
Yeah.
So what should you take? And what should you have put in your bag for the journey?
Take for the journey, I would say, I kind of mentioned it before, but more counsel, more guidance, just balancing, my spiritual life, and like be more, just be more intentional about my walk in Christ. I think when I got in marriage and engaged, I wasn't as hot as I am for God now. I think that I kind of compromised certain things. Pastor, what was that? I think compromised, and I always say to my girls and my younger sister and her friends that you can't compromise. I've been there. I know what it is like, and your singlehood. As much as you have to live your best life, and that is traveling. Self-care, investing in yourself, investing in your business, doing what makes you happy, but you also have to put God first and what He wants for your life, and be intentional about, knowing your destiny in Him, and, finding your purpose in Him. I wish I did that way before even, meeting Femi. I think when I met Femi, and I was in those transitional places, and I feel like spend enough time, seeking God's face for certain things. I kind of compromised my time, but and I was saying that to Sis Fumi on the phone as well. I wish I used my singlehood more in terms of ministry, doing things in the church. I spent time as an usher, but I wish I used more of my time doing stuff like that, because as you can see, I can't even do much.
Yeah, we're coming to that actually now. Yeah.
I've been interrupted. I have responsibilities, I have priorities, but obviously when I was single, I had a lot of time to just really go, crazy for God, and just be on fire and do, stuff. And so I'd say those are my.
Can I ask just one quick question? What do you think made you kind of make that transition? Or come to that realization?
What do you mean?
So, because you said like your spiritual walk, for example, that it's stronger now than it was before.
I think marriage, I think for me, I think God gave me marriage because He knew I needed it, and He knew I needed wisdom to tackle it. Now, I'm being honest, because, I need Him daily for wisdom on how to navigate, to be a mom, to be a wife, to navigate, to be a role model to people that are looking at me. And I can't do that on my own. There's so much you can do in your own strength, but it's only God's wisdom really that gets me through. And I think that having that time and, spending it with God, listening to preachings, reading the word, I've really done a lot. But when I was single and I had so much time, I was doing what I wanted. It's different to now, because I'm now wiser. I have, insight. I have, revelations, stuff like that. So I wish that I spent that time, because when you spend time with God, He reveals things to you. It doesn't. It's the time that you put in is what you get out. And I didn't have time. I didn't put that time in. I did it when I needed Him, like in terms of marital issues. How to tackle certain things. There's so much your mum can tell you. There's so much you can get from your pastor, but cry out to God for certain things and read the word for yourself on a day-to-day basis. And that's what I did. That's why I'm strong in my relationship with God, revealing, my purpose to me and, what he wants to do with me. So, and I kind of found that out when I was married, and I really wish I found that when I was single, because I would have done more, and it's not a regret, that I wish I'd done.
Okay, that's really, really good. Thank you for sharing that. Already, this is, for me, it's more or less one of the very best sessions. I really like the openness. I'm enjoying it. Now, what I also like about this particular session is the fact that Angie is actually right there, and this is the reality of life for young families, right? Juggling all of that. I mean, the distraction, the noise, but that's the reality.
Exactly.
It's not like you have your mother-in-law, your mother around, or an au pair to help you. This is your life, right?
Pastor, that's it.
Yeah, honestly, we get it. Totally get it. So, how has your life changed since Angie came along?
Oh, honestly, completely. Like, sometimes when she wants to sleep, I'm just like, was life without, like, when Angie wasn't here, because it's just around her, like, even, thinking about the future, moving house, where it's not about us anymore, it's about her, it's about her future, it's about the legacy we're leaving behind, it's about instilling things into her. Like, even when we want to have an argument or want to say things to each other, we have to be mindful, because she is there, and I think she has matured us. I think she's humbled us. I think she's changed life completely.
Yeah. When you realize that she is actually watching that bonus that says stuff, it really does. She puts that's imitating telephone calls. And you realize she actually copies, she mirrors what you're doing.
Exactly. She watches. And I think even as a couple, and even as me as a role model to her, I just want to be the best person possible, because she has us first. She's people that she sees and she can really learn from, and we want to do the best job possible. I think we don't think for ourselves anymore. It's more our family and Angie, and how we can love other people as well. I think having a child makes you so selfless that you actually think about other people now more. I think before I was just into myself or into Femi, and now, like, I'm into, like, her cousins, family. We're so much now more open and loving because we have her. So
one of the things, I mean, some a couple of years ago, actually, I think Bethel was still about 3 or 2, something like that. We're driving in the car, and we had this conversation. I think we're going to church, looking for somewhere to park, and I was getting upset about something, So the tone of my voice was rising, and then she said, "Daddy, calm down. Daddy, calm." I don't know myself. Bible says, "Out of the mouth of babes." God actually just used that to sort of minister to me there, and you still see that every day. So you're right in saying that. I mean, children. So God brings us a spouse or our spouses to kind of fine tune us, and then He brings the children along to sort of even make us even better people. So I totally get that. Last week I was saying that having 1 and 2 is not just an addition. So I'm sure that I don't know, but just know that any more. but you see, the thing is, regardless of how challenging it could be, you're still enjoying it. You're never going to say, "Well, let's take her back to where she came from." It's one of those things in life that you look forward to, you enjoy it. You enjoy the changing of the nappies. You enjoy enjoy or enjoy. Well, you know that this is part of it, and you just make it happen.
It's true. And the funny thing is, like, even as they're growing, you have to be intentional about, okay, this is their life stage now. This is what I need to do. This is, how I need to kind of encourage their independence, help them to learn this and that. And so it's like you're constantly having to kind of juggle things and be intentional about what you're going to do and how you're going to help them grow.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
We have come to the count. The clock is going to start counting down in a minute. Initially, Fumi wasn't sure that we would have a whole lot to cover in 1 hour. I know that we could carry on for another hour. This has been very, very useful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for sharing. And for you being open about your relationship, about your walk, about your journey. We appreciate it, and it's a blessing to us, but also I'm sure the people that are listening or that will listen will be blessed by it as well.
Yeah, and Shadi, I know you know that I'm a big fan, right? You're my person anytime. Yeah, of course, for me too. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you, Angie.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Blue Sofa. I hope to see you next week.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, it was good.